Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a minute. This is the Real Rundown. I'm here with Pedro this week. We're going to talk about Alien Earth, which just wrapped up last night. Pedro and I are, I want to say, like, you're probably a bigger Alien fan than me. I'm a moderate Alien fan. Alien 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I'm not like deep in the Alien universe the way you probably are.
Yeah, I've always been a big Alien fan. I think when Covenant came out, I kind of like wasn't feeling it that much, so I kind of fell off, took a break after that. Didn't know what they were trying to do with the franchise and everything. And then I watched Romulus like way after it came out, and I was like super impressed with that. So
Was
then I was
Covenant, that was the sequel to Prometheus, right?
yes.
Yeah. I remember Prometheus getting so much hype, and then people really disappointing just because of the plot holes. I still really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. I think to me, it's one of my favorite Alien movies. But Covenant didn't hit me like that. But like I said, Romulus was really good. I really enjoyed that, even though I watched it way after it came out. Actually, right before Alien Earth, and then I was hyped for this series to come out.
I was like, I wonder if he's gonna. I thought you might like Romulus, but I think Paul made the point last time we were on that like your sort of what you like and don't like is sort of really hard to pin down. So I was like, I think he'll like Romulus, but maybe he'll just like flip it and be like,
no, I really
liked
liked it. I really liked it. I like what the director did with that. I think with me, when I like something so much, like this franchise, I tend to be like super harsh on it and judge it like really harshly, because I know like what it can be, and then
you have like your own idea of like
what it's turned into over the years. Like I know like it's just so high on a pedestal for me that
no, I feel you, and I'm like that with certain things too. That's why I agree. I thought Romulus was so good. I think my expectation was kind of like mid. It wasn't really all that, but
yeah, me too. I'm just like I said, it took me like over a year to watch it, and when I decided to watch it, I'm just like I had nothing to do, so I'm like, oh, let me watch it, and I was pleasantly surprised. But
they're doing it right.
I was on the brink of just giving up on the franchise.
Yeah, I think speaking of Romulus, and then this one coming a year after that. I know they're not set in the same universe. I mean, they are set in the same universe, but they're not in the same sort of time frame, I guess, or time space.
Take place like way later on.
But they have like this connective tissue, because I feel just like the way the movie looks and sounds and the way the characters dress and the way it's shot, I feel like they have that in common, and they have that in common with the original couple of films too. So it ties back to like away from this like sleek, polished look of Prometheus and the technology is a little bit more analog.
Yeah, they got the aesthetic right.
Yeah, that first scene in the first episode of Alien Earth, I was like, dude, I'm like in the original Alien right now. That's like a couple of trucker looking dudes around a table, like playing cards and eating. They dressed in like mechanics or whatever.
Yeah, they did that nicely. It was a nice introduction to what was to come.
Yeah.
But then they fucked it up.
Yo, I went back and forth on that.
We'll get to that in a second.
I went back and forth on that throughout the season. So big picture, what was your like after watching the final episode last night? What was your just gut overall reaction to the series?
Series as a whole, I'm gonna say it was a letdown for me after this finale, and actually like the 2 episodes leading up to the finale, like the last 3 episodes. I don't know. This show just started off really good, like really high, and just like took a nosedive like halfway into the season, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's like the writing got lazy, the plot just like they just started writing into really like just dumb stuff. Like I was really hoping that the momentum from the first like 2-3 episodes would have kept going.
Yeah, I think the first two were pretty strong.
It kind of fell off a cliff for me at one
Like
point.
it moved really fast early on. And then yeah, to your point, like once it kind of settled and we knew all the characters and we're actually like too many scenes where you're just like in a room with two characters talking. Right. And then it cuts to another room. Like once you go to the island and the aliens are on the island and everybody's in the island, it got pretty boring for me, other than anytime they were like in the laboratory with doing stuff with the aliens or the aliens were in the background. Like that to me was always engaging. And the homie Kersh, played by what's his name? Let me see what's his name. Like Timothy Oliphant, who plays the synthetic science chief, basically.
Yeah, I always forget his name. Yeah.
Every scene he's in was great. But yeah, I think it kind of dragged a little bit, maybe episodes like 4 and 5 in particular.
I think to what you were saying, the like first 2 episodes were so good because you were in different environments. Like you were on the ship, then you were like in this huge, like, I guess city building compound where it crashed. And then you were back in like the Prodigy headquarters. Then you were on the island. Then you were, it was taking you back and forth. But there were some episodes where it was just like all indoors in this Prodigy like headquarters,
Yeah, hallways and rooms. Yeah, and the second episode, they're like going up and down the skyscraper, opening apartments, finding the aliens in the ship.
Yeah, and that only lasted like
containers.
one episode,
Yeah.
Episodes, whatever.
So it has a really good start, slows down, and then really strong finish, in my opinion. As I was watching, I wasn't really watching week to week. I slowed down after the 3rd episode, and I think I picked up again when they do the flashback episode to the ship and how things really started falling apart, which that episode was like kind of like a mystery because there was like a traitor on board. That episode I thought was dope too.
Yeah, I think that was the last good episode for me. And that was like, how many episodes were there? 8?
8.
So then that was probably like episode 7.
No, that was at least 6, because 7 and 8 were kind of building up to the finale. A couple of things that stood out to me that I didn't know how I felt, though I thought was used as a bit of a crutch. Number one was Wendy's character just being able to talk to the Xenomorph, and then she's also like controlling the entire system, all the online, everything that's online inside this Prodigy facility. I just
feel episode 5, by the way. It was episode 5, the flashback episode.
The flashback.
Yeah.
I just feel like when characters get that kind of power in any show, it's often used as a crutch or as a loophole to like.
Yeah, it's a bailout.
It's a bailout. Yeah. So I didn't love that. It just made everything kind of easy. And once he assumed control, I just feel like all the stakes were kind of lowered a little bit because you're like, okay, nothing's going to happen now. Especially coming from the Prodigy folks. What did you feel about her talking to the Xenomorph?
I hated that. That was out of all the things I nitpicked about this and that I didn't like and I thought threw the show off, I think that it's between that and the characters being children.
Okay.
I can't decide which one of the two things I hate the most. I hate her talking to the Xenomorphs because there was no explanation to it. It just happened.
Yeah.
Like randomly. Like she encounters a Xenomorph and she's able to communicate with it. It's been done in the past. It was done in Alien Resurrection, where Ripley, had a connection to this like alien hybrid thing that she gave birth to. It's like a whole big story, but
yeah,
the explanation for that was that she had the same DNA as them.
She was like cloned with like alien DNA or something, right?
It was something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but at least there was a reason why she's able to do that. This is just like, it just came out of nowhere. She's able to talk to them, and by the end of the episode, she's controlling two of them, and they're like part of their squad.
Yeah, they're part of the squad. There's a shot where they're all like surrounding this cage.
Yeah,
Where they put all the bad guys in the cage, and like the alien and then the little alien are just chilling like with the squad.
yeah, like taking instructions from her.
Yeah, I didn't really
like
love
what
that either.
what does that do? Like nobody we know from the future, what happens in the future with all the movies, we know no one else has that ability.
Yeah, that's not a thing that we've seen before.
We don't know why she's able to do that.
And it's like literally talking. She'll be like, sit, stay, follow me, go hide.
Yeah, and then not just that she can talk to them, like when they're right next to her, they had this like shot and this like scene in the final episode where she's like communicating with one like miles away on the island.
Oh yeah.
She's like whispering and it can hear her, and
they're gonna have to explain that in a way that I think satisfies people, because I didn't really love that either. And from what I read, that was one of the biggest gripes that fans of the show had. The part about the children, I actually thought that ended up working out pretty well. And I thought the actors actually did okay with that. Being kids, there's a great scene where Morrow, it's not Morrow, it's Arthur, the scientist. He's like being dragged ultimately to his death. And he's like, I know you guys are lying because you guys don't know how to lie yet because you're kids. And when I first I was watching the build up to that moment, I was like, the acting is just so off for me. Like, no one's going to believe them. So then when Arthur's like, I know you guys are lying because you don't know how to lie, it clicked. And I was like, actually, yeah, they just got me. They got me feeling the wrong emotion in that moment. But that's when I realized it actually works. It definitely works. That was kind of like the proving moment for me. Kind of like, I also felt like that Boy Cavalier, the main villain, I hate every time that guy was on screen, but I guess he's just a really unlikable dude, or character rather. And maybe the actor's just like really doing a great job, because every time he's on screen, I just want to choke that guy.
I mean, he's got that tech bro, billionaire, ruler of the world vibe. So
yeah, like he's
made out to be hated. He's made out to be hated. But my issue with the kids thing is, at first I thought it was great, when they started it, they had like the kids, their parents and everything, but the way they also like transferred their consciousness into these bodies, I thought that was all cool. But I was hoping that they would mature out of that at some point in the season, because
a little bit in the last episode.
It's but they're still kids. Like it's just silly. Like some of the things they're doing is silly. And then when I look back at it, and I tried to imagine this show without them being kids, and literally there's like nothing that would change the plot if you had just made them like young adults, or like more mature teenagers, or like people the age of the bodies, like in their early 20s or something. Like it wouldn't have changed anything. It wouldn't have changed anything, and it would have actually felt a little more realistic, where they wouldn't have been doing such like immature type things.
That's the thing. I think what you might be pointing to is like, tonally, some of the stuff they did was kind of goofy and immature, like you said, and it just tonally didn't sit with the rest of the show. That was very serious.
It was out of place.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it led me to believe that, like, you would have just made them young adults, it wouldn't have changed anything. The relationships would have been the same between the characters, the dynamics would have been the same, like, Arush, who was, kind of like manipulated by Morrow, that still would have happened, because
Yeah.
Morrow, threatened his family, so it still would have happened. Like everything would have happened the same way. We wouldn't have changed anything. Any of this, none of the storyline would have been affected by this, from as much as I can think about it.
Yeah, you might be right. It might have been the same. Like certain exchanges might have been slightly different, but the actions driven by the characters would probably, and the decision probably.
But you're right. Ultimately, what it does, it makes everything. It makes it feel out of place with everything else.
I did like the scene where they're walking when they first escape from the facility and they walk past their graves. I thought that was a really powerful scene. And it's interesting because it hit home for some characters more than it did for others.
Yeah.
Like some people, some of those characters were really like, oh, I'm not the person in the ground. Like that person died. I'm someone new now. And others kind of felt like they were still that person. I think Wendy at the end is a little uncertain of who she is.
Yeah. I wish they would have taken it a little further and made it a little more dramatic and like kind of like had them dig up the graves to see like their bodies and stuff. Like to see who they actually were, what they looked like and stuff. I was hoping that, but they didn't do that. But that would have hit like harder,
Yeah, or maybe have one of the characters kind of break down and do that, right?
Yeah.
Nibs, she's particularly emotional and violent and reactive. Maybe her character would have done that. But yeah,
she's the complete opposite of what she was before they like took her in and reset her.
Yeah.
She was that was a complete turnaround. She went from being like the shy, scared, timid one to like, she showed like that she was.
And she's pretty brutal.
Yeah, she showed some behavioral issues, and then they took her in, they kind of reset her, and like she's this whole new character. She's not afraid, she's violent, she's like takes matters into her own hands.
Yeah, I mean the way she in the 7th episode, she like digs her fingers into this guy's face. It's like extremely like psycho shit going on there. So I'm terrified. She's the scariest one for me. And then like in the last episode where she took the Boy Cavalier's henchman and just like punched him in the face like 20 times.
Yeah.
So those are the kids. I think, it's hit or miss, but I think they're kind of figuring it out now. My favorite part of the show, and I thought this was interesting at first in this kind of movie, was the introduction of new aliens to the Xenomorph. So we have the eyeball creature, we have the little flies, would turn out to be big flies, and then we have like that plant creature that ends up being some kind of like big floppy thing that also like crawls around. I thought that was dope, and that's why that was some of my favorite scenes were just in the lab. I just want to see what these things do. There's a scene where like that, again, this is some of my frustrations, where the dude, one of the kids, opens the lab to feed all the aliens, opens the door to one of the cages, just like completely careless. He falls inside, and then the flies like melt his face and get out. I thought like scenes like that were dope.
Yeah.
What did you think of the eyeball? So the eyeball became like a fan favorite.
Yeah. I thought visually I thought that was silly. I like the eyeball character. I like the eyeball alien. I just thought like, at first, just looking in on it, it doesn't fit with the alien universe,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we know there's other alien life. We saw that in Covenant, but like the alien itself was kind of like a little ripoff of like a horror movie or something. I'm fine with the other alien life forms. I thought they're putting too much emphasis on this stuff. I wish like something would have happened where they would have just burned like the lab where they all kept them, and like that's it,
Mm-hmm.
It was fun for a couple episodes, then we don't have to deal with that again, and the focus is back on the Xenomorphs.
Yeah,
and
but
I thought there were just like one too many of them, the eyeball, the plant, the flies. Like if there was like one other alien life form, I would have been okay with it. But it's just like kind of just veering off again in a direction where like nothing else from like no other alien entry has dealt with other alien life forms other than the xenomorphs and the face huggers.
Well, but the facehuggers are xenomorph, right? That's like part of the xenomorph life cycle anyway. It's one thing, right? Come out of the egg, hatch the alien, hatch the xenomorph, and then repeat. I think that's how it goes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like the aliens a lot, especially toward the end when I realized that the xenomorph is just going to be like Wendy's pet. Like if that character is just going to be her pet, then we need another kind of like mysterious villain question mark kind of X factor creature that has some sort of mystery or unknown factor to it. And I think that's the eyeball. Shout out to the eyeball, man. That guy became an MVP. In that was like the scariest sheep I've ever seen. When he took that sheep's eye, I was like, holy shit. Then that sheep got up.
Yeah, now we're gonna have like a zombie character.
Yeah, like that was really cool.
Walking around the island.
Even when Boy Cavalier was like, I want to talk to you. Like I need to know like what you know, what you've been doing, like where you're from. Like I was like, shit, me too. I want all that stuff answered. Like I would watch a 30-minute show, just someone interviewing the eyeball.
It's interesting that they made it like super intelligent, the way it like the seed its way out of like the little thing one time, the way so it's smart. Yeah. It has some form of communication because it was leading Cavalier on.
Right. So, yeah. And there's one scene in particular where I think one of the little flies or the bugs get out when they're in their small form and they lay eggs in the water bottle.
Out. Yeah, it actually helps it get out.
But wasn't it warning that scientists, like when she was about to drink?
No, yeah, that it could have been taken both ways. Some people think that it was trying to warn it, but it's obviously evil. So,
is it? We don't know if it's evil.
Everything I get from it is. I mean, it tried to attack what's his name, the brother.
Well, it wants to.
Hermit. Like it wants a host. Yeah,
it wants a host and it wants to escape.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it is evil. But
it's smart, either some people thought it tried to warn one of the scientists, other people, thought it was like baiting it or whatever and like let loose the other things. I'm gonna go ahead and let everything loose, but I think there's more that they're not telling us about this eyeball. I think it probably is like part of another creature alien that we've seen in this franchise before. It's just like they haven't tied it into that yet.
Oh, that's interesting.
I want to say that's what I want to think.
Yeah, because we don't know where these aliens came from. This is just like
they were just on the ship. Yeah, they didn't even know. We don't even know if they all got collected on the same planet or not.
Exactly. Like this was some expedition to go collect alien life and bring it back to Earth, but we don't know where that came from. That could be its own series. So super cool. I love the aliens. I love that they like evolve over time. They grow, they mature, like their behaviors change. Really cool stuff. I don't know how that's going to play into season 2. And then, but yeah, I'm excited for that. Just checking my notes over here too.
One of the big complaints everyone had too was just like the lack of security at the Prodigy corporations, island facilities. It's just
no protocols for the science lab whatsoever.
Like I can't tell anymore with shows. Like when they do stuff like that, is it lazy writing? Do they do it on purpose in order to find ways to move the plot? Or
I don't know.
Do they just like really like not realize that this is going to be a problem when people see this? Because there's like no security. Like there's like xenomorphs running around killing people on one floor, and on the other floor, they're like nothing's happening. They're just having a conversation.
Yeah,
wouldn't this whole thing be like
an alarm going off?
Yeah, and they can like not only see through like the hybrid's eyes, and like they could also like see through their thoughts and all that. Like but you can't see what's going on like in your
Two rooms
lab.
down.
Like when like something escapes the lab, you don't have a way to test it, to like get alarmed and stuff, or like the alarm goes off late, and like how the
There's
hell
no
is
alarm.
Wendy able to wirelessly just open doors and control everything? Like, was there a solid concrete explanation for that, or is
No,
it
not
just
yet, not yet.
they just made it that since
Keep in mind,
she's connected to the network, she just like hacked it. That's what we're supposed to assume.
well, keep in mind there's a season 2 where I'm sure they're going to explore that. But I do agree that the security is pretty weak. I don't know if that's an oversight in the writing, or I think it's probably like a middle ground between writing oversight and them just like, we need to move the plot forward and the characters need to move here and there. My biggest
And it's
surprise,
like, oh, by doing that, we just got to make it like a really bad facility and stuff.
why my biggest question is, in the finale, why was the elevator why did it have a self-destruct mechanism? Like, why do you
That's one
need
of the
that?
things I wrote on my notes that I was gonna bring
I've
up
never
and laugh at, is like, you got this like squad of freaking soldiers, and like, oh, the elevator just conveniently showed up, and they even question each other. They're like, who sent it? Should we take it? All right,
yeah.
they just take it, and then like 3 seconds later, the shit shuts down and goes into self-destruct mode. Like,
Yeah,
what do you think was gonna happen? An
Yeah, I'd take
elevator that you
stairs.
didn't call for just showed up and you get in it?
But why does an elevator have a self-destruct mechanism? I've never seen that anywhere. Like,
I don't
why
know.
do you
I
need
mean,
to,
is
why do
it
you need to
part of
blow up
like
the
the
elevator?
weird security that's going on in this facility? Like, that's good security, but what about the rest? What about fucking the specimens getting out of the labs and like no one realizing this, or like
Yeah, the only way that
nobody also realized that Wendy's completely hacked the network and can like do whatever she wants, and like, why does she get to do it and the other hybrids are connected to the same network? How come they don't have that ability?
well, they're gonna address that in season 2. I have no doubt, because that's a big question. I like that. Speaking of the security flaws, like, the only notification you get when an alien is out is like, there's a green light on the cage. That means the door's locked, and if it's red, it means the door's open. But no sound, no SMS, text message, nothing. Like, so it's like, yeah,
No self lockdown mode.
no backup systems
Doors don't
whatsoever.
automatically close.
I want to talk about quickly just Morrow, the character, because he was like my favorite character of the whole show. Especially when we go back to that flashback episode, like, and he's just on a mission of revenge to get the aliens back after that.
Yeah,
I just felt like this guy was like on another level, man. He was like the dope action hero.
Him and Kersh were on another level than anyone else. But Morrow, I like how they put focus on him.
Yeah, he had a couple of dope scenes. One was the elevator scene with Kersh, where they're like kind of like one-upping each other. And another was when he sees the 2 kids on the ship, and he confronts them, and he just like feels so in control in that scene. That's where he puts like the little sticker on
yeah. From the get, also, he was like, from those first 2 episodes when they were going around the building complex, he was like the one that, he had info on the Xenomorphs. He knows what they're about. He knows how to take them out. He had that cool, like, I don't know what it was, like some electric shock weapon that just like neutralizes everything. And his backstory too, about like how his family was killed, and like, the corporation like kind of like just owns him. He's like, he has to do what they say and stuff. It's a great character, man.
He starts off, at least in my opinion, as like, I was like, oh, this guy's kind of the villain a little bit. He's kind of bossing everybody around. He lets everybody die on the ship, and then he's like shooting and beefing with characters that are the heroes, at least up to that point. And then later,
he had the ulterior motives than everyone else. He was the one that Yutani sent up there for specific.
But we didn't know that early on.
Yeah. And
But
then by the end of the season, you know, it kind of like he's like less of the villain and Cavalier's more of the villain.
yeah, Cavalier's 100% the villain. Yeah, and so by the end of the season, the kids pretty much round up all of the adults, basically Boy Cavalier, Morrow, Kersh, and what's the woman's name? Let me see what's her.
The other scientists.
Yeah, Art. Is her
Arthur's
name like
wife.
Sylvia? Arthur's wife?
Yeah, Dame Sylvia. Yeah.
Yeah. All the adults, and then when Wendy says, we're in control now, Boy Cavalier just kind of like smiles, like some Joker evil kind of smile, and I took that as like this. He's one of those guys that like wants to watch the world burn, or he's just excited to see like what the hell's gonna happen. He's just happy to be there at this point.
Yeah, that's what I get from it. That he's just like, wow, like he's seeing the full potential of what he created.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's seeing his creation run amok, even though he has no power. Or maybe he does. Maybe he knows something that we don't know, but he's still like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And he created, I don't know, maybe like an ultimate weapon or something. Wendy in particular feels special compared to everyone else. We don't know why that is yet.
Well, she, like I said, like why is she able to hack everything? Why does she have all these why is she able to talk to the Xenos?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yo, did you know that at the very end it's revealed that Boy Cavalier's like number 2? He's a synth as well. Is his name? His name is like I had no idea.
And he kind of gave that inclination the whole time, Adam.
Yeah. So there's a theory that he's actually like the robot or the synth that Boy Cavalier created when he was a kid and used him to murder his dad.
That's what I got from that story when he told it. Because as he's telling the story and like right after the story's over, they go to him and they show him, know, and he's like the most loyal to him out of everyone. Even the scientist turned on him. The Kersh kind of has like his own little motives that we don't know yet.
Kersh is sneaky, bro. There's that scene when they're all in the helicopter flying back, and Kersh sees the aliens get out and kill.
Yeah, and he
doesn't one of the guys, and he doesn't say anything. He's like, "Yeah, everything's cool."
Yeah. So I think my theory with that is I think he's actually working with Yutani.
Oh.
Yeah. Somehow, or involved with them somehow, or just going rogue like David did in Prometheus, and wants these specimens for himself.
For a different purpose, potentially. Yeah, because we do see him working in the lab alone a lot. And he is kind of annoyed with Boy Cavalier constantly because he just like puts him down. So he could be working for, what was the other?
Yutani, the other corporation?
Her, or even like one of the other 3, right? Because apparently there's 5. So yeah, that's a good theory actually.
Yeah, but I definitely think Adam was his father figure creation that he made when he was 6 and just like kept upgrading over time.
Yeah. There's a scene where they show like a robot on the wall, and I was like, but he looks so robotic. I was like, nah, this guy would not pass as his father. So it had to be like a actual like kind of being, look like fully human and be functional. So maybe we'll get a flashback looking into that scene. But yeah, that's how season 2 kind of ends on. I don't want to say it's a cliffhanger. Yeah, it ends with like the story's certainly not finished. Basically, like season 2 is going to continue probably like that same moment. They could, or they could do like 6 years later, the kids are now adults or young adults or teenagers. Some of them are really young.
But it can't even be like that because Yutani and her squad are literally flying into the island as it
that's
ends.
true. Yeah.
So it's like, how much time do they have, That's
has
why.
to be
That's why
immediate.
I'm kind of like I was kind of left a little perplexed at the end. I'm like, are they gonna? How do they plan on pulling off a whole nother season of this if literally all that's left to tell is either Yutani gets her specimens back and takes out these hybrids and the Prodigy Corporation, or I mean, they're like minutes away from like clashing with each other. It feels like.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming season 2. Now I completely forgot, but now that you mention it, that there's like 3 other corporations that are kind of like, the big couple corporations that just run the world.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if
We
season
get
2 is more about them and like just like little scenes here and there about what's happening on the island.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways they can go, but to your point, yeah, Utania's ships were headed toward the island. They had already turned off all the security and pretty much isolated them. You got Arthur with the eye in his skull. That guy's going to be up to something. You got a couple of the other aliens loose, and you have the kids sort of running the asylum there. So yeah, they'll probably pick up off right there, which I think would be cool, actually. And there's so much you can do. I think if you think about it, there's plenty you can do. You can throw like an X factor right into Utania's ships coming in by having like another corporation suddenly show up, or I don't know. But it's a series that I think in some ways it over delivered for me, because I was not expecting this much money. I was not expecting them to have this kind of budget. And to have this kind of production, and just the aesthetic and everything really lands. I know a lot of people have problems with like the lore and shit like that, because I'm not as familiar or as much in the weeds with it. I think everything is fine. And I'm pretty excited for season 2. Like I'm glad the show, has been pretty successful.
What I'm thinking, I'm leaning that towards that viewership is probably going to fall off because the show didn't have that great of an ending. Some of these final episodes kind of like weren't on par with how the show started. So I think there's going to be some drop off in viewership, but I think there will be a season 2, but I just don't think it's going to be as big or popular as season 1. Also,
Yeah.
how long can they keep dishing out all this money? Like all these episodes cost millions and millions. They were saying it's one of the most expensive shows. So
Yeah, that's true. But I think, FX is known for doing these kind of prestige kind of shows and sticking with them. I have no doubt that we're going to get a season 2. We'll see what the reports come in terms of viewership and in terms of budget for the second season. But if they do scale back the budget, the show's going to suffer tremendously. So I think that needs to stay. And you can tell, like, a lot of those episodes we were complaining about where they're just in rooms, you could tell that's them like preserving the budget.
Yeah. Nah, you could tell like the whole budget went towards like that pilot, the first like 2 or 3 episodes,
And the flashback episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope we do get a season 2 and either that closes out this story or we get a 3. I don't know. But I think this is a cool world. It's different from anything else on TV right now. So it's really refreshing to see this.
Yeah, it's definitely, it was, I think that was the one thing that stuck out the most, is that it's different than anything else on television. And there are tons of sci-fi shows, but nothing like this.
Yeah. So definitely recommend you guys checking out Alien on FX on Hulu if you haven't. And stick with it. The first 2 episodes are great. It slows down a little bit, but the ending I do think pays off. We kind of just spoil the whole thing. So if you watched it, let us know what you think. But we kind of dug it. Pedro, not so much, I guess.
I like that. That's why I started off by saying that I tend to be harsh on these franchises that I love, especially Alien, when things just don't live up to, and like nothing's gonna live up to the original movies and stuff, but it's just things that keep happening on TV shows now, like the lazy writing, the obvious plot holes that just like I just can't. It's happening too much in TV now, and it's coming to a point where it's annoying me. Like it's kind of like an insult to the viewer. I know not a lot of people that watch this may be like diehard fans, but still got to respect the viewer's intellect, and not just have no security in this facility at all.
I know, like, get on LinkedIn, man. Hire a couple more soldiers, put up some security cameras. They have security cameras, nobody watching them though, right? No one's watching them.
One of my favorite characters this season, and I don't think gets enough love, is the guy that's just disinfecting that wall the whole time.
Yeah, he showed up in the finale.
They showed his face one time, I think, without the helmet, and they even Cavalier even mentions him when he's talking to Adam about like who they're gonna set the eyeball out on, like because they want to try it on a human host, and forgot what he said. He's like a mold scrubber, the lowest like intelligent life there is. And I'm like, I like that guy, man. That guy just does his job, keeps quiet, keeps his head down.
Yeah, there were a couple candidates on the eyeball transplant. He made the list. He was one of the first ones. But yeah, that guy just being there, he does nothing, but he just adds like to the show, to the aesthetic, and to the environment. Stuff like that is really appreciated. And cool costume, cool Halloween costume. If you don't have ideas, go as the mold scrubber.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there. Check out Alien Earth. It's on Hulu or FX if you have that. And maybe we'll see you next time. I don't know. We might do like a deep fall preview episode soon. But like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.